and welcome to One Cardinal, One Cub, and One Beer. I am your effervescent host, Vincent Opper, and next to me, to my immediate right, is the eye candy of the show, JJ Jackson. JJ,
Hello, everybody.
if you were eye candy, what kind of candy would you be?
Oh, I'd be one of those little penny candies, the little root beer barrels. That's what I would be.
Okay,
Do you remember penny candy? You're probably too young to remember that. Going
I
there.
remember that.
Yeah, you remember penny candy? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
good stuff. Good
yeah.
stuff.
I'd be those nerds,
The
those little
nerds. Oh yeah, but very
90s.
popular. Very
Yes,
popular.
yes. So. Um, do want to remind you to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and you may email us at onecard1cup1beer@gmail.com. And if you are watching us on Mac or PC, please subscribe to us by clicking on the corner, kind of where I'm pointing down there. You'll see an icon. Click on that and subscribe to us so you will know when our content uploads immediately. Pretty cool perk. And if you can, please support us through Patreon. You can support us starting at $3 a month. And with that, you get some cool stickers. And your Patreon support goes to help us do a little bit of advertising. And when I get back from my trip, JJ and I will kind of formulate a plan how we're going to get this advertising stuff to the people that matter. JJ, the winner of our coffee cup. First of all, my question was, who was my first favorite player? And people were guessing Dave Kingman.
I guess.
And I did highlight Dave Kingman, and he was my favorite player for a while, but he was not my first favorite player. You have to go back to the very first episode of One Cardinal, One Cup, and One Beer to find out who my first favorite player was. When I was a kid, I explained the story that I was watching the All-Star game in, I think, 75, 76, somewhere around there. And my dad had always been a Cub fan. My parents separated and divorced when I was 3, so I grew up with my mom. So even though my dad was a Cub fan, I didn't watch Cub games because I lived in St. Louis, didn't have cable at the time, didn't care about baseball. So one day I'm watching a baseball game on I just turned it on. Oh, this is exciting. My mom says, "You know what you're watching?" I said, "No." She said, "You're watching the All-Star game. It's a game when all the best players in baseball get together. And in that game, Bill Madlock and John Matlack of the Mets, Bill Madlock for the Cubs, Matlack, they were co-MVPs of the All-Star game. So he's got to be the best player in the world. He was the MVP of the game with the best players. So I just thought he was as they used to say in the 90s, the bomb. Now they say something a little more profane. And so, but I just thought he was great. He won a couple of batting titles. So, our coffee mug was won by Ray Hartman, who is a
Hooray!
Cardinal fan. You saw him last week on the show. And so he will win the mug for the Cardinals that has all their logos through the year from
Very
their
cool.
inception in 1900. And then on the other side, it's got the logo that they had in the 50s. So
I
Ray
love it.
will make plans to get that to you. But the coolest thing happened, JJ. Monday morning, I got up and I got an email from a listener named Rhonda Lever, I believe, Levar, Lever. And she said that her and her husband, Tim, are truck drivers. And last week they found our podcast. And after listening to the previous 2 episodes, they decided they were going to go back to the beginning and listen. So they've been binging our podcast while they drive. They're team drivers, and it's been pretty cool. So they also, when they went back to the first, Bill
Yeah.
Madlock was his favorite player. But I said, sorry, we've got a winner already, but I do want to give you a shout out. So Rhonda and Tim, thank you. Be safe out there. And one thing that I love is that Rhonda said that she's been a lifelong Cub fan,
Very
even
cool.
though she grew up in Carbondale, Illinois, which is firmly in Cardinal country. So I feel Rhonda's pain of, growing up a Cub fan in Cardinal territory. So I thank her for her long suffering. So a pretty cool story coming from the email.
That's fantastic. The Levers. Hey, we're good to have you aboard, man.
Yeah, and they're good friends with the Fulcrums.
Well, we used to have
A
the Levers.
stupid physics joke. Okay.
Oh,
So
man.
JJ, how are you doing?
Hey, since we got together last time, we had Memorial Day, and I don't know if everybody, people who listen, know that. I hope you had a nice Memorial Day, Vince, and everybody out there. But Vince is a supreme cooker. He sends pictures. I can make manwich. I might throw together a bologna sandwich. But Vince is a Chef Boyardee right here. So, what did you have a? But did you have a barbecue? What'd you make for Memorial Day?
Actually, we did not make anything.
Oh,
We went out to
okay.
eat at the Olive Garden. So,
All right. Hey, I like the unpredictable right there. Yeah,
well,
very
we
good.
didn't have any of the kids over, so we had some stuff to do around the house, and I actually had a gift card for the Olive Garden, so we decided we'd go to the Olive Garden. We were going to go to a movie, but that kind of fell through, so we just went out to
Okay,
eat. Then
very nice.
we did a little shopping. I guess mostly browsing because I don't think we ever actually bought anything, but you know, we got out of the house.
Very nice.
What did you do?
I worked midnights, come home, go to bed. Faith barbecue down at her dad's house. We had a big spread. I got to watch the Cardinals lose. We'll get into that more in a minute. And that was pretty much the day. Pork steaks, bratwurst, a lot of, and I love the sides. Always like the sides, the baked beans and the
Oh yeah.
potato casserole and slaw, all that kind of stuff. That's
Oh,
what.
let me tell you what I discovered real quick.
Sure.
For people who smoke meat, um, we had a chuck roast, and so I just my head started spinning. I could put in the crock pot with stuff. I wonder if I can smoke this. And I looked into on YouTube, and I found a lot of people who had recipes for smoking a chuck roast. And so one of their things that they brought out of it was, aside from that fatty vein down the middle, which will not render no matter how long you smoke it, you're going to dry out your meat before that because that's not going to render. But the sides has enough marbling that it's gonna taste a lot like a brisket, but you have to, after you smoke it, you can't just slice it like a brisket. You'll have that big fat area. So you have to cut that fatty area out after you smoke it, and then it tastes like brisket. So, and one guy, he kind of like did pulled pork, took forks and pulled it apart.
Oh yeah.
And so I smoked a chuck roast for the first time. I think it was Thursday, and we took it to the in-laws house, and I pulled it apart. I'm talking, it was fantastic.
Oh, that was.
And
I'll look into that.
a brisket is an investment, and I'm always afraid to buy a brisket because I'm
Mm.
afraid I'll screw it up or something. But chuck roasts aren't that much. So I'm gonna do this. So if you ever have the chance to smoke a chuck roast, look for some of the recipes online. It actually turns out fantastic.
Man, I have to have faith on that because you do not want to turn me loose barbecue and everything tastes like lighter fluid after I cook. So hey, I know my place. I just sit at the table and enjoy it. Very good. I'm jealous though. I wish I had that cooking uh thing, but I don't have it. Well, Vince, I have a little treat here. The Cardinals every year have a yearbook, and this was from the first year I ever went to a Cardinal game, 1976. So they made it. It was the bicentennial year. They made it look like old timey, and I had a card in here to mark my spot. Yes, right here, and in the yearbook we have none other than Lee B.B. Richards right there, it live and in color, right there in the yearbook. How about that? How
Awesome.
how about that? He played for the Cup. Now, Vince, I'm in denial. I want to think I don't need glasses, but I bought myself a magnifying glass so I can read the back of the baseball cards. But I refuse to wear glasses. All right. But The year before, he had played 2 years with Chicago, like a part-time year in Iowa. And then in 1975, he was with the Cubs, and
This is
he
with the
only,
White Sox.
oh, maybe that's the White Sox then. Okay, I
Yeah,
just
he
seen,
never played for the Cubs.
oh, okay, I just seen Chicago on there. They didn't tell us one or the other, but he hit 200, and he only had 45 at bats that year. But BB Richards has become a big he's probably got more press on this podcast than he has in a long time. So BB Richards in the 1976 yearbook, and I want to apologize to you, Vince. And I think I was I won't say arrogant, but I didn't see it any other way because I'm such a Cardinal fan. But I always thought the Cardinals have such a tradition of hanging on to players for a long, long time, and they become part of the culture and the history of the team. Well, I looked this up and I went in increments of 10 years or more with the Cardinals, 15 years or more, and 20 years or more. And first, I'll talk about the Cardinals. The Cardinals have had 31 players play 10 years or more with the Cardinals. And I thought that was pretty cool. One guy, 20 years or more, that's Stan Musial, of course.
Yeah.
And he missed 2 years to World War II, played 22 years with the Cardinals. We have four guys with 15 or more years, and since there's only four, I'll name them: Lou Brock, Yadier Molina, Ozzie Smith, and Red Shandiks, and that's his players. Red came back and was a manager and added on, but I didn't count those years. It's only as a player, and then that gave us let's see, 26 guys with 10 or more years. So I thought, well, I'll go do the Cubs and just compare. Well, let me tell you, Vince, I apologize to you. The Cubs have had 30 players play 10 or more years in a Cub uniform. I didn't know that. They've had two guys play 20 or more years, and that's Cap Anson and Phil Cavanetta. Phil Cavanetta.
Cavaretta.
Okay, he had played 20 years, and Cap Anson played 22. 15 or more years, you guys have had 7. We've had 7. Y'all have had 7. And then that's 21 players with 10 or more years. And I just think that's great. Two great organizations. I apologize to all the Cub fans out there because I just thought the Cardinals, I don't know, had that cornered with all these players that play for years and years and years, but not so. The Cubs and the Cardinals are about equal there. And if you look at our win losses over all these years, it's pretty darn close too. So
Yeah.
anyway, I did a little research there, and I do apologize to all the Cub fans out there. Well, in Cardinal news, I'll start off my Cardinal news. Lars Newbar pulled up, and he's got some. He had a back spasm in center field, and that really has become our first point of where we're kind of lean because Dylan Carlson and Tyler O'Neill both had played center field, and Newbar was like the third guy. So now all we have is Oscar Mendoza and Tommy Edman. Tommy Edman went out there and played last night. So Dylan Carlson's getting close to going to the minors and getting a rehab start or two. But it looks like it's going to be Mercado and Edman playing center field for now. And in the minors, we have some kids that are coming, but they're not ready for the big leagues just yet. So we got 3 guys down in center field, and we've got the 4th and 5th guy coming up to do the job. So we hope Lars gets well quicker. We need him out there, and he's been a spark plug for the team all year. Well, this week, it was kind of a weird week. We were going strong where we had over a week where we scored 8 runs a game. Well, this week it was completely different. We all week we scored 3 or less runs. Wednesday, we play the Reds and they beat the crap out of us 10-3. Steven Matz, oh my Lord, he's now 0-6. Just his ERA is 5.72. In that game, he gave up 4 innings, 6 runs, and 11 hits. And the Cardinals had 8 hits, but only got 3 runs. And Brendan Donovan and Newbar got home runs. And we got 4 walks and 9 Ks, but Matt's just put us behind the 8 ball. And he since has been moved to the bullpen. And he's trying to find his way. So Liberatore will now be in the starting rotation. I'm kind of happy about that. I want everybody to get a chance, but Matt's has had his chance, and he's just killing us. Thursday, we go out and we win the fourth game against the Reds 2-1. And Miles Michaelis wins his third game. He goes 7 innings and no earned runs, 5 Ks, no walks. What an outing by Miles. And it seems like he's getting momentum and pitching better and becoming the pitcher we would hoped he'd be. Matter of fact, I think he's pitching a little bit better. Same in our bullpen, and the Cardinals have been on this, and I'm not making excuses, but we're on a 19 games in a row streak. And that's rough. That's rough on a team, especially a bullpen. And there's been games where we play the whole backup. All the backups are in because we're giving guys rests and everything. So that was good to get that win. And we're 13-5 in our last 18. So 2-1. It wasn't pretty, but we held on and won. In that game, Gorman got both RBIs, and Yespis, who's in the outfield, who's kind of suspect defense. He's not top. He's not our frontline defense, but he made a sliding catch out there. And Kisner, who's getting to play more here lately, his batting average is up to 230. Now I know people say 230, that's not very good, but last year he hit like 190. So he's doing better, and he's catching, and he got a stolen base in that game too. Friday we were playing the Cleveland Guardians, and they're the youngest team in baseball. We're one of the younger teams, and they beat us 4-3. Liberatore pitched. It was his second start of the year. He's 1-1. He went 5 innings with 4 earned runs, and Cleveland just played better than us. Goldie was 2 for 4, Donovan 2 for 4, and Stratton and Andre Palance both pitched 3 innings and didn't give up a run in the bullpen. The bullpen's been doing, the middle bullpen has done very well. The 4 main guys at the end all have had ups and downs. I'm talking Helsley, Gallegos, Hicks, and Cabrera. They've all looked like closers at times, and sometimes they fall apart. Saturday again we went 2-1, and really the Cardinals stole this one. We only got 2 hits in 10 innings, and the Cleveland got 8 hits. Flaherty is pitching better, 7 innings, 1 earned run. There's shaky times, but he usually gets a big defensive play or a double play. It seems like double plays are his best friend. He's got his ERA down to 4.81, and the bullpen was lights out. The bullpens were great. And Donovan did something in this game that's never been done since 1920. The RBI stat became a statistic, and in that game he had, let me see, I've got it written down here. He had all the runs, all the RBIs, all the extra base hits, and all the stolen bases. So Donovan was star of the game that time, and I never knew that was a stat. We had a stretch for that stat, but that's a nice one to have. He'll probably get a bobblehead next year out of that to commemorate that. Cleveland had their second biggest attendance of the season up to opening day. So that's nice to see. I want to see all the teams have a good attendance and do good and everything. The Cardinals hit their 41st home run of the year, and they're 4 away from the May record for a Cardinal team. So they hit their 41st home run, and again, Steven Matz is in the bullpen. They actually made it official on Saturday. On Sunday, the Cleveland beat us 4-3, and they scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th, and it's one of those games that's just a gut-wrencher. It's a game we should have won. We stole Saturday's game, and the Guardians steal one Sunday in the bottom of the 9th, and they come up and score, I believe it was 2 runs. The Cardinals, every run they got was via home run, and again, we scored 3 or less runs. Cardinals had 8 hits, but we just couldn't score. Montgomery went 5 innings with 2 earned runs. A nice start, but not, he was just okay. And Ryan Helsley gave in 2 innings. He was trying to get a 2-inning start or save. He gave up the 2 runs, and that was his 4th blown save. He's 3-4 with 4 blown saves, and his ERA is 3.52. Last year he was so good; he was an all-star, and this year he's kind of come back to earth. And still a lot of season to go. Monday, Memorial Day. Originally, the Cardinals were going to have that day off, but MLB wanted the Cardinals to, they wanted all the teams to play on Monday because it's almost assured a good attendance game. And we played the Royals, and it was a great attended game, but the Royals just beat us 7-0. I said this before, Vince. The Cardinals have the most trouble against a pitcher they've never seen, or what you call a bullpen game. And that was a bullpen game, but that second guy who pitched went 7 through 7, second inning through the 7th, and they had a perfect game going And we only got 2 hits. Arenado broke up the perfect game in the 8th inning. And Matz did have a relief appearance. He went 2 innings with 1 earned run, and that's about what he's done all year.
Yeah.
And finally last night, the Cardinals beat the Royals, so we split with the Royals. We went 2-1. That was our 19th game in a row, and the Cardinals have been 15-8 since May 8th. Michaelis, again, a great outing. 8 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 10 strikeouts, 1 walk, in 102 pitches. I don't know about you, Vince. I'm old school. I say sit him out there for the 9th. He deserves it. It was 2-0 at the time. And I'm going to break down Michaelis. In April, he had 5 games started, 28 innings, 16 earned runs. He had a 5.80 ERA. In May, 6 games started, 38 innings, 8 runs, and a 2.10 ERA. He's done so much better. His strikeouts to walks are better. It's just great to have him step up. He's been the ace of the staff. And the Royals had 5 hits. The Cardinals had 5 hits. Edman played his first game in center field, and he did fine. Donovan threw out a guy trying to score in a 2-1 one of those quick games. And a game like that, every play is important. But Donovan had the defensive play of the game. Gallegos got his 7th save. Edman got his 8th stolen base. And he actually was picked off by Chapman, but he just kept running. And when they threw it down there, he slid and he was safe. So that was good to see. And so far this week, we were 3-4. And that's 7 straight games with 3 or less runs scored. But we ended April 10.5 out. And our April, 10.5 out. And we end May 4.5 out, tied with our good friends, the Chicago Cubs. So I guess there's company and misery. We're both down there at the bottom, but we're only 4.5 out. For as crazy as this season's been, I'll take it. And we're going to be entering June here soon, and let's see what happens. So
Yeah, last night I was telling the family we were eating at my in-laws, and a couple of my daughters are home right now. Um, and I said, yeah, I expected we'd be fighting with the Cardinals coming into June. I just didn't think it'd be for last place.
but we're just right behind the Reds, who's hot right now. The Pirates are right. I mean, it would take but a good week to catch those guys.
Oh, is the Cubs have had a terrible stretch. I mean, it's the only team worse that has played worse percentage wise as far as win percentage is the Oakland A's. That's how bad we've been the last
Oh,
3 weeks. Well, I'd say for the whole month, but we're only 4.5 games back. Yeah,
yeah, I'll take it.
whatever. So,
Yeah,
is I'm really not too concerned about the bad stretch because no one's taken control of the division, and I know we're going to be playing better. So, you know,
it's gonna be fun.
well, let me tell you about the Cubs. We had from last Wednesday through today, there have been 8 games played. So usually I have 6 to report on it. We went 3-5, and this is the most frustrating 3-5. We started last Wednesday while we were on the podcast. We won 4-2 against the Mets, the hated Mets, the demonic Mets, the Mets who kick puppies. Yes, those Mets. We won 4-2. Horner had a home run. Mike Talkman, by golly, we bring guys up from AAA, and they come on like gangbusters. Velasquez did that. Morel came up so hot, and we brought up Mike Talkman since Bellinger's been out, and he's just tearing the cover off the ball. Mike Talkman had 2 hits and an RBI. As I said, Horner went deep. Marcus Stroman, he beat the Mets 4-2. 8 innings pitched, 4 hits, and he only struck out 3, but he's a ground ball machine.
He's been great.
Did give up a home run to Alonso, and that was it. Other than that, he was fantastic. So Wednesday, when I got off the podcast, I watched the end of the game. Hey, very good. And we've got the Reds coming, or we've got another game with the Mets. So on Thursday against the Mets, we completely how did the young kids say it? We completely poo-pooed the bed. Yes. We lost 10-1. The only highlight in the first inning, Dansby Swanson hit a home run, and then we did absolutely nothing, losing 10-1. It was Kyle Hendricks' return game. He pitched 4 1/3 innings, gave up 6 hits, 5 runs, 3 of them earned, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Um, yeah, I know it sounds strange to say, but I thought it was a pretty good outing. There was a lot of little floaters that fell in. He just did not get shelled, like Michael Rucker, who pitched 2 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs. Michael Rucker, I wanted to strangle you, but hey, you have those games sometimes where you lose 10-1 to the Mets, and the
Yeah.
good thing about it is we have the Reds coming to town. The Reds, who are going to be the laughing stock of this division, and we're at home. So we start off like game busters, and we lose 9-0. We only had 2 hits. There's nothing to mention on offense. And the thing about the game, Justin Steele, who's been one of the best pitchers in baseball, he started and he pitched 2 2/3 innings, gave up 10 hits, 6 runs, 5 of them earned. Didn't walk anybody, but 4 strikeouts. His ERA jumped almost a full run to 2.77. So he just didn't have it. That's the first game where he really just kind of threw a clunker. And then I'll get back to him later with today's game. So we lose the opener against the Reds, and so we play them again on Saturday, only to lose 8-5. Nico had a couple of hits with an RBI. Dansby had 2 hits with 2 RBIs. Ian Happ had a couple of RBIs, but we couldn't pitch. Jamison Tyone pitched 4 2/3 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, 4 of them earned. His ERA is 8.04. He was relieved by Michael Fulmer, who actually got the loss. Fulmer pitched 2/3 of an innings, 1 hit, 2 runs on a home run, had a couple of walks. His ERA is 7.84. These two guys are veterans. They go out there, and I don't know how to put it in a different vernacular. They look like their face says, I'm a loser. I don't know what I'm doing. It's written all over their face when they start pitching. They're playing so bad and they get shelled. Fulmer came in and walked someone, and I texted to Max. Now he's going to give up a home run, which he did.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
I know we've signed both of these guys, but there's something I right with Tyon, and maybe it's in the head, but you can put someone on the injured list to get their head straight.
That's true.
Holmgren just looks like garbage. I don't know why they keep putting him in the game. I don't know why they're keeping him on the. I know they signed him to a contract, but come on, man. He's not. He's not. He's not contributing at all. He's hurting the team. So we finish up the series with the Reds on Sunday by losing 8-5. We got swept at home by the Reds. Swanson had a couple of hits, Mancini a couple of hits, Michael Talkman had 3 more hits. But our offensive star was Patrick Wisdom, who has been in a funk for about 3.5 weeks. He came up with 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, and he was the whole offense. But too bad, pitching wise, we just did not do good. Drew Smiley, he pitched 4 2/3 innings. He's pitched so great this year. This was a clunker, 7 hits, 5 runs, all 5 of them earned. So glad to see the Reds leave town. The Reds, who I made fun of, thought they were going to be so terrible, and because they had nobody I knew. So what did we do? We had the Rays coming into town, which is, oh my gosh, we got the Rays coming into town.
I know.
Terrible. We got the Rays coming into town. So the Rays came into town, and we decided, you know what, we're just going to forfeit the games. No, we didn't. We decided, hey, they're paying us. We got to play. First game against the Rays, we won 1-2-0. A fantastic game. Suzuki had a hit. Michael Talkman, he drove in the only run with a sacrifice fly. And Marcus Stroman on Monday pitched 9 innings, gave up 1 hit for the shutout, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts. Stroman's only 5-4, but his ERA is 2.59, and he leads the major leagues with 10 quality starts this year. Every time he takes the mound, we're in the game. And he wants to stay in Chicago. He's got an opt-out this year, and I think he is good to keep on this pitching staff. Um, when he's on the mound, we're a different team. You can just tell we have that look in our eyes, like we can win this game. We don't have that look when we have Tyone on the mound. So we play yesterday again, second game against the Rays, and guess what? We beat them again, 2-1. Nico Horner had a home run. Suzuki had a couple of hits. Talkman had 2 more hits. We're just so proud of this guy. Hap had a couple of hits. But what I'm really happy about is Kyle Hendricks had his second start, and he pitched 5 innings, gave up 6 hits. The only run he gave up, and it was an earned run. He walked 3, struck out 3. But he looked more like Kyle Hendricks, a lot of soft contact. He certainly didn't get hit hard, and he pitched his way out of jams, and we haven't seen that from him in a year and a half. So physically, what he has fully recovered. Um, Julian Merriweather came in and he got the win because we scored the second run while he was in. Adbert Alzolay pitched 2 innings and got the save, his second save of the season. So today we played a 120, and guess what? We are going to sweep the Rays. So we think after pulling ahead 2-0, the Rays tied it 2-2. Then we made it 3-2. The Rays hit another 2-run home run. We load the bases in the ninth, and we have Mastroboni up with 1 out. Mastroboni swings at ball 4, which would have walked in the winning run, and he strikes out. And then Gomes comes up. Gomes swung at ball 4 because I think it was a 3-1 count. He swung at ball 4, missed, and then grounded out or something, or flew out
Oh
the. So
man.
we had the bases loaded in the ninth, and
Oh,
we had 2 players who swung a ball 4. I don't know. I know it's very difficult to hit major league pitching, um, but when you're up there with the bases loaded, and you, I just think you have to sharpen your eye a little bit because that walk is going to be golden, and chances are, in every at bat, most most hitters are going to swing at a ball somewhere along the line. That's
oh
the way
yeah.
baseball's set up. You fool the hitter into swinging on something in the outside, but you have to be super in tune to that whenever you're in that kind of situation. But that's a word you just never hear of anymore. Situational hitting. You don't hear that much anymore, and that's one thing that I wish we saw more of in today's game. Just
Yeah.
realize what the situation is. A walk's as good as a hit, and cut down your swing, and really sharpen your eye into what's going to be a ball on a strike. Suzuki did have 2 more hits today. His average is up to 293.
He's
Trey
good.
Mancini came off the bench, and he did get a pinch hit for um, to drive in a run. Talkman drove in another run. He is hitting 355 since being called up. And Justin Steele, who got shelled his last outing, came out, looked wonderful. First 3 innings, 9 up, 9 down, 1 strikeout, and he had everything moving. But he had some tightness in his forearm. And so they took him out. They brought in Wesneski, who's up from AAA, and he pitched 3 2/3 innings, gave up 1 hit, 1 earned run, 4 strikeouts. So he pitched really good. Mark Leiter Jr. came in, and this is the first time I can remember he just did not have it.
Mm.
He pitched a third of an inning, 2 hits, 3 runs, walk, all 3 runs earned. Alzolay come back in and settled things down. But it was a great pitch game. I hope Steele's not injured. If he is injured, I hope we bring up Ben Brown for a spot start. Um, but the Cubs are kind of weird with injuries. We heard that Bellinger, he's just got a bruise on his knee and he's on the 10-day IL, and now they're saying we don't know he's coming back.
Yeah.
From a bruise, must be something more than a bruise. Could you tell us a little bit more? But
And Swanson is out too, isn't he, right now? Or was
no,
he? He's back. Okay. There was a game or 2 he was out, I thought.
they may have set it for a game. But the really good news about today is they did bring in Michael Fulmer for 1/3 of an inning, and he got a strikeout. So even a blind squirrel gets a nut every now and then. But anyway, that's the weekend. And Cubs 3-5. We should have been 4-4. Um, Easily could have won today's game, but I can't complain after looking so terrible against the Reds. And the Reds are surging. They're playing their best baseball right now.
That's true.
They have confidence. They have swag right now. They do a great job with the running game. And another issue with Ross, he was ill prepared for the Reds to run. When's the last time you saw a pitch out?
Uh, I don't think I've seen one in a long time.
Okay,
Not intentional. Sometimes to be outside, like I seen the
I'm
catcher
talking
grab
about
it, throw it down first.
pitch out.
Yeah,
Okay,
I ain't
I
seen it
thought
in a
we'd
long
see a
time.
lot of that this year with the situation with the bigger bases and only two disengagements. I thought we'd see a lot more pitch outs. Okay, Walls, the speedster for the Rays, I think he plays shortstop. He walked, so he's on first base. I knew he's going to take off the first pitch. I knew it. And I think everybody else did. And I'm thinking, pitch out, just pitch out, good old fashioned pitch out. Nope, throws the ball, and he steals the base and he's safe by a mile. And I'm like, my God. And even Jim DeShay said that would have been a good time for a pitch out, a good old fashioned pitch out. You never see the pitch out anymore. And I'm
No.
thinking, we just had the Reds in town who ran all over us because Ross has had no plans to stifle their game. And if I'm managing Major League Baseball in today's era where we've got the pitch clock, we've got two disengagements, we got bigger bases, I'm going to use a pitch out. But
Yeah.
I guess managers are so afraid that their pitchers can't throw strikes anymore. We can't throw an intentional ball. I mean, pitchers used to have such good control. You throw a pitch out, stop the running game. We didn't do it, and I was a little frustrated. I'm pretty certain if things don't turn around by the All-Star game, if we're still plodding along sub 500, I'm pretty sure that Ross is going to be the first out the door.
Really?
He's 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 not an X's and O's guys. He had the goofiest lineup the other day against the Reds. Um, and then Monday, the game after Wisdom hits 2 home runs, he sits him. I don't understand why you sit the guy, play the hot hand. But anyway, he had a lineup against the Reds. He had Warner batting fifth and Mastroboni, who's hitting under 200, leading off. And then when someone asked him about it at the press conference, he basically said, "Yeah, it's a great thing about being the manager. I can write up the lineup and do what I want to do." And I thought, well, that's a pretty crappy response to the fans who seem to be a
Yeah.
little more invested in this than you are right now. So anyway, that's Cub news, and that's Vince, or also known as Vince's whining corner. So,
I don't think we're in our hot streaks. I like when the Cardinals were scoring 8 runs a game. I don't think we're that good. We're not an 8 run a team game. We can't keep that up. But I think we're better than 3 or 2. So we're somewhere in the middle. I just kind of our pitchers coming around. I right now through April and May, I don't know who we are. We're just chugging along. Well, let's see what happens. But we got 4 months to go. It's going to be fun baseball down the stretch.
yeah. All right. Well, JJ, I'm going to kick you out of the room and we're going to bring in Brody and we're going to do down on the farm. Max is not here. He's going to be working tonight and probably going to have a lot of Wednesdays where he's working during the summer because that's when he makes all of his money is during the summer and goes back to school. So, well, what I think we're going to do is just suspend at least the trivia for the summer, not put that
Sure.
burden on him because he puts a lot of time into it.
Sure does.
And and when we can have him, we can have him. When we can't, we'll make fun of him when he's not here, like we are going to today. So I'm going to step in Max's shoes and I'm going to do the Cubs system and bring in Brody, and we will hear from him about the Cardinals. All right, welcome to another episode of Down on the Farm, our monthly installment where we look at the Cardinal and Cubs minor league teams and who's breaking, and a few who are aching. Ha ha ha. Didn't know I was a poet, did you? But anyway, as you can see, Max isn't here. He's got to work tonight, so I'll be taking his place and down on the farm today and doing the Cubs, and Brody will be doing the Cardinals. Brody, tell me, how are the boys on the farm for the St. Louis team doing?
Well, they're doing all right. I'm gonna start off with A-ball. The Peoria Chiefs so far are 21 and 24. Doing a little better than the Cardinals are doing at the moment, but
Yeah.
they're batting leaders. They got the batting average of 324. They got Nathan Church. He also has 50 runs. He also 50 RBIs.
Already? Wow.
Oh, excuse me. 31 RBIs. That was the
Still, that's a lot.
Right. But Victor Scott, he already has 11 stolen bases. He's leading obviously in stolen bases. Home runs and is Aaron McKenneth with 3 home runs in Double-A. For pitching, we got Alex Cornwall. He has 4 wins already. Andrew Mario, he has 6 saves. Cooper Piper, he already has 49 strikeouts so far. Coming down to Double-A, the Memphis Cardinals are 27 wins and 24 losses so far.
A little bit
They
better.
got Lucan Baker. He's running the show right now, man. 39 runs, or excuse me. He leads the team in 15 home runs with a batting average of 310, and he has 39 runs and 48 RBIs. 26-year-olds. He's doing great. He's a first baseman and outfielder, which we do have a lot of those, but we can at least trade him for prospects or something. But pitching wins, we got Laborte and Connor Thomas with 4 wins. They tied. Laborte has a 3.13 ERA with 56 strikeouts. Memphis is in 3rd place overall in their division in Double-A. Now here we come up to the Springfield Cardinals. Here's a special note. For 3 games, they changed their name to the Springfield Cashew Chickens.
Yeah. My wife, who went to college in Springfield, actually wants one of the shirts, the cashew chicken shirts.
It's made to celebrate the 2 favorite things of Springfield, which is baseball and Springfield cashew chicken.
Yep.
So I see it with the little takeout box with the chopsticks and stuff on the hat. They look pretty cool. I can't say I'd want my name to be the Springfield Cashew Chickens, but their jersey, I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, cashew chicken is not originally from China. There was a restaurant owner who was Chinese who made up the dish from his Springfield restaurant. So it was actually invented in Springfield, Missouri. So
Right.
So that's why the Springfield Redbirds for a few days became the Cashew Chickens.
But so far the Springfield team is 21 and 24. They got Matt Kopanak with 320 batting average. Home run is Chandler Redmond with 16 home runs, and he also has 42 RBIs so far. And pitching is Eugene Escobar and Kenny Hernandez with 5 wins. Saves are Logan Sawyer with 4, and Wilfred Peoria with a 2.80 ERA and 24 strikeouts. And that is how we are doing so far.
Well, the Cub teams are, I'm happy to say they're all over 500,
Yeah.
which is a testimony to the talent we have up and down. In low A in Myrtle Beach, we are 25 and 21, and our best hitter in the Myrtle Beach team is a guy named Felix Stevens, who is hitting 296. He does have 6 home runs and 21 RBIs. Another person who's having a decent season is Moises Ballesteros. He's hitting 263 with 4 home runs and 17 RBIs. Two of our pitching prospects actually started in low A. Jackson Ferris, who is still there in 11 innings pitched, he does have 16 strikeouts, so he's doing really well. Cade Horton, who has been promoted to the South Bend team, the high A team, in 14 innings pitched at Myrtle Beach, he had 21 strikeouts. So most of these are players who are just starting. They haven't filled out with their body. So there's not a whole
Right.
lot of power, and not actually pitching's kind of dominating in low A. And then when you get to high A South Bend, we are 24 and 22. And right now we are being led on offense by Scott McKeon at 284. So you see in both of our A level, we don't have anybody hitting 300. Pitching wise, Richard Gallardo, it has a 3.4 ERA. And I brought up just a moment ago Cade Horton, who had 14 innings pitched, 21 strikeouts at low A. He's been promoted to high A. And this kind of shows you how jumping up a league there's a learning curve. Cade Horton, who is starting tonight for South Bend, has started 3 games in South Bend, and right now he is sporting an 8.44 ERA. So he's kind of learning that curve. In
Right.
Double A Tennessee, the Smokies are 26 and 20, and right now we have 2 of our best prospects in Double A, actually 3. Owen Casey is absolutely raking in Double A. He is hitting 285. He has 11 home runs and 32 RBIs. This is the gentleman who played for Canada in the World Baseball Classic. I think he had a home run in the World Baseball Classic, and he's he's a big kid and he's a legit prospect. And the crowning jewel of our prospect list is Pete Crow Armstrong, PCA, in Double A Tennessee. He's hitting 266, which is respectable. 4 home runs, 22 RBIs, 11 stolen bases, and there is a new video. I think it was just last night. He made an astounding sliding catch, so he's uh, probably going to finish the year in Iowa and maybe get a cup of coffee in Chicago. BJ Murray is hitting 270 with 7 home runs and 29 RBIs. He's kind of a prospect going under the radar. And Jordan Wicks, who was one of our #1 prospects a few years ago, he has a 240 ERA and a 0.94 whip at Tennessee. In AAA, our Iowa team is 29 and 19. And a lot of that record we amassed with players who are now in the big leagues. So we've kind of come down to earth a little bit after this amazing start. Right now, Jake Slaughter, third baseman at AAA, is hitting 261 with 10 home runs and 41 RBI. So he's driving in a lot of runs. Nelson Velasquez, who has, I guess he had about 3 weeks up with the Cubs, he's hitting 280 in AAA with 6 home runs and 16 RBIs. Sergio Alcantara is hitting 284, 5 home runs, 25 RBIs. So as you can see, the players who weren't making noise the last time we did this, the Matt Mervis, I don't know. Matt Mervis, Christopher Morel, they're helping in Chicago right now, so we don't have them to help with AAA. So the
Right.
team still good, but not as dominant as they were at the beginning of the year. And Ben Brown, who started the year absolutely dominating in Double A, he's been moved up to Iowa, and right now he has a 3.75 ERA. But the real big statistic in 24 innings pitched, he's got 36 strikeouts. And I hope in today's game, I hope he's not injured, but Justin Steele, one of our best pitchers, one of the best pitchers in the National League this year after throwing 3 perfect innings. He had to leave the game with forearm tightness. So if we do have to disable him, I hope Ben Braun comes up and makes a start, and
Right.
at least for a spot, so we can get a look at him. And he's the pitcher that I was talking about over spring training, who's got that 12-6 curveball, much just reminds me of Adam Wainwright. Just a lot more hair. So because he's a youngster. So that's down on the farm with the Cardinal organization. That's down on the farm with the Chicago Cub organization. Both systems are doing okay. Nobody's embarrassing themselves. Nobody's quite dominating.
Right.
But it is just it's where our players develop, and so in a few years we will be doing these podcasts. We'll be talking about these players in the major league. Hey, that was fun.
Hey.
First time I've ever done down on the farm. Really excited. I thought I did an excellent job.
That Brody, he's something else.
Yes. We are going to do the best of May, and I'm going to start off by saying I'm doing the senior circuit, and JJ's doing the junior circuit, which are I'm doing the National League, the old
The
National
old-
League. JJ's
Yeah.
doing the young punks. I pointed the wrong way.
Yeah. The
Young
newbies.
punks. Yeah. So I'm gonna look at position players basically, and see who's doing hot, um, and look at a few pitchers. But as far as the teams that are doing great, just know that the Dodgers are just ridiculously good in May, and so are the Braves. So,
Mm,
and in the Central, everybody's ridiculously mediocre. So,
that is true. Yeah.
JJ, you wanna start
I
with
will
your
start. Yes, sir. I will start the American League, the junior circuit. My first story for the month of May is we start with the Oakland A's. It seems like we always start with the Oakland A's here lately. There's always something going on in Oakland. Well, nowadays they have the pitch com where the catcher can call the pitch, and they don't have to put the fingers down because people were stealing pitches and stuff like that. Well, Oakland is the first team that can't use the pitch com in home games. Did you hear about that, Vince?
no.
All right. And the reason in home games they cannot use the pitch com is because it's too quiet. There's not enough fans. When they hit the pitch com, the batter can hear the pitch that they send out to the pitcher. And so they know it's
That's so
coming.
sad.
So
That's
the
terrible.
first game they found that out, there was only like 2,000 fans in the stands. And somewhere along the way, I think the umpires go, they can hear the pitches. I can hear them from back here. So Oakland, I'm telling you what, it's just sad story after sad story for them. So we'll keep an eye on them. I know they won a game this week. I do know that, but they're on a collision course for maybe the worst record. Even the Mets that year, they were very bad. They may beat that record. So stay tuned for the Oakland A's.
That's sad.
That's sad.
When are they projected to move to Las Vegas? Do you have any idea?
I think 4 years. I think it's 4 years. I
Are
know.
they going to play in Oakland for 4 years, or maybe
don't know.
move? They're
Yeah.
move them to a
Even
minor league complex somewhere. Because
even
my
when
goodness,
I know. Well, Toronto played in Buffalo, New York. Maybe do something like that.
yeah, because no one's going to come out to watch that team. That's a lame duck team that's leaving your city.
There's got to be
Uh,
a college around Las
yeah,
Vegas that could have them, and yeah. But they were going to get land, and then something fell through, and they got land somewhere else. But it's within a mile of where they were going to get land to do it. So that's all, I guess, set up. Last I heard. So
yeah,
I think it's going to be maybe 3 more seasons in Oakland. We'll see. I don't know. Stay tuned.
it is baseball. So
It is baseball.
the Mets have underachieved this year, and
Oh,
with the huge payroll, and some of their bigger stars just are not cutting it right now. Like Francisco Lindor has just become little bit above average player, and they thought he was going to be a superstar, so they paid him all that money.
Mhm.
But one of the bright spots with the Mets has been their catcher, Francisco Alvarez, one of the prospects that they brought through their system. And in the month of May, he had a 1.08 OPS. He hit 7 home runs in the month. He has a 309 batting average. Now, to put that in perspective, it's very tough for a catcher to hit. Your body just gets beat up. So anytime you have a catcher who hits north of 300, I'm impressed. That's why I always
Yes.
thought Simmons is a Hall of Famer, because he had the ability to hit 300. Oh gosh, Piazza was a great hitting catcher too. You
Oh,
just find guys who, yeah, because they're not legging out infield hits. It's all hitting. So even though we hate the Mets and they're pond scum, and they should be called the New York Beelzebubs or something like that. I thought it was cool that of this team with all these stars, uh, their catcher, the guy that they brought up through the system, is actually having one of the better years on the team. So
that's pretty
that's pretty
cool.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and Alonso too. That guy, look out. Um, anyway, I'll stay on the American League. I can get sidetracked so easy. Well, I thought one of the greatest stories, it's a baseball story, but it's a human story too, was the return of Liam Hendricks to the Chicago White Sox. Yes, he's been a great player. He's an Australian reliever, and for you guys that don't know, he was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and he's been out of baseball for a while. And the other night in Chicago, standing ovation, a lot of tears. He's 34 years old. He came back, and that's the main story right there. And just a great story, a great guy. He's had 13 years in the MLB with 115 saves and a three-time All-Star. So the return of Liam Hendricks to the White Sox, and that's just a great story. And he's back in the MLB.
Yeah, that's a fantastic story. And um, not trying to minimize what he's going through, but that's a team that needs something. So that was, for a team that's had so much negative, that's a positive.
Yes, sir.
We talked about the Dodgers, who are now playing like the Dodgers, and one of the big reasons is Freddie Freeman. In the month of May, he had a 1.14 OPS with 25 RBIs.
Oh
Freddie
my
Freeman
gosh.
is a freaking machine. And if it wasn't for him getting hot in May, that offense may not have started clicking the way it has. But with the pitching, having some injuries, they need a strong offense right now. Freddie Freeman is leading the way. So, Freddie Freeman, you got my kudos.
Man, Freddie Freeman, that was one of the best signings. Atlanta, oh my gosh, they're probably regretting that one. A great story is the Baltimore Orioles, the old St. Louis Browns, and they are after 2017, they went through a rough period. They had 4 horrible seasons, 2018 to 2021, where they were 178 and 360. 178 wins, 368 losses, only played at a 360 winning percentage. But 2022, all these players from being so bad, all these draft choices, they built from within. And just because you have a bad team, don't mean you're going to turn it around. The Cubs had some bad years, really built a great team, and those 5 years were incredible. The Astros went through some tough times. Oakland, I don't know what happened. Well, they ended up getting rid of all their players, but poor Oakland. But Baltimore, the last 2 years, last year they were 83 and 79 and almost made the playoffs, and they're putting together this team that may be good for years to come on paper. I know you can't count your chickens before they're hatched, but this year they're 34 and 20, second place, very exciting, a plus 26 run differential. They let's see, the attendance has been down for a while. There were a team that got usually 2.5 million people, but their attendance has been really down, but the crowds are starting to come back now. They have some, I'm just going to go over a few of the key players that have come up through their organization. They have a first baseman, Ryan Mountcastle, who has 11 home runs this year, a star. Cedric Mullins, an outfielder who's been an all-star. He's been a 30-30 player. This catcher, who might be one of the two best catchers already in baseball, Adley Rushman, 8 home runs, 273 batting average, 41 walks. This kid is phenomenal. It's gonna be fun watching him over the next 10, 15 years. Outstanding player. Austin Hayes, one of my favorite players in baseball. This kid does nothing but hustle. He's been on other teams. He didn't come up out of their organization, but he's leading the team right now with a 315 batting average. Gunder Henderson, the third baseman, he's got 5 home runs. But they have a kid, and 2, Kyle Gibson, who's been around the league. He's got 6 wins this year with a 3.82 ERA. And they have a kid named Kramer who also has 5 wins. But they have a kid down the minors, Matt Holliday, a Rocky, an Oakland A, and a St. Louis Cardinal. Son was the first pick in the draft. And they have this kid, Jackson Holliday, and he's 19 years old. And high A ball, he's hitting 378 with 6 home runs, 35 RBIs, 11 stolen bases. He is just the man amongst kids in a high A ball. Now, that doesn't mean anything. He's still got to go through AA and AAA. But when he gets added, they've got a lot coming. And he's already the 3rd highest prospect in the top 100, the 3rd biggest prospect already. And I'm telling you what, Baltimore Orioles are going to be fun to watch. And it'll be fun for them to get a little revenge on the teams in the American League East who have just knocked them around the last 4 or 5 seasons. So look out for Baltimore. They look like a playoff team if they stay healthy. So Baltimore Orioles, my 3rd big story.
Yeah, I watched an Orioles game about a week or 2 ago, and I was impressed that the stands were full. The stadium was rocking again, and I was so impressed. I watched them the second night, so I watched them 2 nights in a row. Adley Rushman does not look like a kid.
No,
He
he
knows
doesn't.
the strike zone. He has been well coached. He is a very disciplined player. And I remember like Gene Tennis when he played for the A's, he'd hit 230, hit about 20 home runs, but he would walk 100 times a year. And I love a player who's got that kind of an eye who can walk like that. And as I brought up earlier in today's game, where you can't even trust the pitcher to give away a ball for a pitch out, there are walks to be had.
Oh, yeah.
And that's like I was talking about the game today, there were 2 walks to be had in the 9th with the bases loaded. Take those walks. Barry Bonds used to get criticized for taking so many walks, and one year he walked 211 times or something like that. But that was in his DNA because he had been schooled so well how to be a hitter and how to have that sharp eye and take your walks. Because walks are a team statistic. It's not going to show up. You're not going to hit a bomb with a walk. You're not going to, it's kind of all right, yeah, it's a walk. But it's a team statistic. Teams that walk a lot tend to have offenses. You got your pitchers throwing more pitches. You got the bases with a lot more traffic on it. Take your walks, and that's why I love Adley Rushman.
Yeah, I love that guy too.
Much as it pains me to admit right now, if we had an all-star game, the starting second baseman would not be Nico Horner, although he would be on the team. He's having a fine year. The starting second baseman has to be Nolan Gorman, who's playing for the Cardinals. And he had a 993 OPS during the month of May, hit 7 home runs. And I have been cheating. I've been watching some Cardinal games because I have VPN now where I can, act like I'm in Amsterdam getting high or something. But anyway, Gorman is okay. He's a second baseman. He's okay.
Yeah, you're right.
He's not quite an iron glove, but he's not going to take away a whole lot of hits. But he's going to catch what's coming to him that he can get to. So he's okay. But hitting wise, he's very good. They've been playing him at some DH. I think the Cardinals have even had a few times where they've put him at third, but mostly second baseman. And he had a very strong start in April. And to prove he is for real, he has had a fantastic May. So I give kudos to Nolan Gorman, although it pains me.
I respect that, your honesty. I tell you what, Gorman is one of the few young players on our team that will take a pitch, who will put the ball in play, move the runner over. A lot of these guys are swinging for the fences, and Gorman has hit a lot of home runs, but a lot of good times when we're not on, we're just hitting lazy fly balls out to about the warning track. But Gorman the other day put a ball down and moved the runner over, and I really respect that. We got about 6 hitters on our team that are solid professional hitters, but we got a lot of young kids too that just, man, they're swinging it out of their socks. So yeah, I'm a Gorman fan too. The Cardinal fans are loving him. Well, my fourth story is I want to talk about Mike Trout. Mike Trout, he's so good, we've kind of got used to it, but he's not going to be around forever. We should appreciate him while he's here. And just Tuesday night, he tied Joe DiMaggio in home runs with 361. And that's amazing. And Trout's, I put him in the same breath with Joe DiMaggio. Joe won all those championships, but that's a team thing. Joe was the leader on that team, and Trout hasn't even got to the playoffs. But as far as defense,
One appearance in the playoffs.
Yeah, one appearance, and I think they got swept in it. I think
they got bounced.
They got bounced. And Joe, well, he was on the Yankees, and back then they just ran over everybody. But defensively, what they mean to the game, power, it's not even fair. Trout's just more power and everything. It was against Boston. He hit the home run. And now Trout and DiMaggio are 85th all time on the home run list. And that was 11th home run of the season for Mike. And although right now he's tied for his lowest batting average he ever had at this point in the season. So, but he's Mike Trout. Just hang on. He's coming. So that's pretty cool. Mike tying DiMaggio for 85th.
Could you imagine if Mike Trout had a personality?
He's just a regular guy. He's country. Mickey Mantle was like that. Mickey was like, hey, gosh, hey, Oklahoma boys and everything. And of course, he was a party guy. Mike hunts and goes home to his wife. He's just not real flamboyant.
Yeah, if he had like a Ken Griffey Jr. personality.
Oh, yeah, that's true. He's great with kids, though. I see him at the ballpark signing autographs and playing catch with kids. But that's he's not Ken Griffey Jr.'s personality.
He's never been great to my kids. What's wrong with my kid?
Yeah, he ain't been great to mine. My cousin's friends with his mother. My cousin is a school teacher in New Jersey. She's from Arkansas, married a New Jersey man, went up there to teach school, and her assistant is a lady named Debbie Trout, who had a son named Mikey. And they said, oh, that's nice. And they said, man, he's pretty good at baseball. The next thing you know, they said, do you know Mike Trout? I said, yeah. And they said, well, that's I know him. And when he bought a house, she went and helped decorate it with the mom. I know this is like a brush with greatness. I'm kind of 3 steps away from this brush, but for Christmas one year, my cousin Andrea got me a Mike Trout autographed ball. So, man, that's pretty cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm in a very generous mood.
Oh.
And so I do want to throw some sunshine to another Cardinal.
Wow.
Yeah. They used to say certain players go as the team goes. As Lou Brock goes, the Cardinals go.
Right.
With the Cubs, the World Series year was as Dexter Fowler went, we went. It's become apparent that the player that can really spark the juices of the Cubs is Arenado, because he had a very subpar April, and the Cardinals had a very subpar April.
We did.
But then he caught fire in May, and the Cardinals caught fire in May. His OPS is approaching 900 for the month of May. He had 7 home runs, and the defense is always stellar. So yeah, I know Goldschmidt won the MVP last year of the league, but maybe the real MVP of this team is Arenado, because when he's going good, the Cardinals seem to go good. So I do want to apologize to all my Cub fans out there who heard me twice give kudos to Cardinals.
Hey, man, how about this? You're gonna pull the rug out from us here in a minute, though. Probably.
Oh no.
Well, my 5th story in the American League is Zach Greinke. and he's been around a long time. You're a fan of Greinke, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah, I think he's fantastic. He is age 40. He's chasing 3,000 strikeouts. Uh, at the start of the year, he had 2,882. Now, in his prime, uh, 118 home or strikeouts wouldn't have been a lot, but at the age of 40, he's not pitching as many innings. He's slowing down. This year, he's 1-5, but he is playing for Kansas City. No disrespect across the state, but they're not the 27 Yankees. He's got 47 strikeouts. So right now, he is setting at 71 strikeouts away from 3,000. There's only 19 pitchers with 3,000 strikeouts. And of course, number one is Nolan Ryan with a freakishly good 5,386. And number 19 is John Smoltz. So getting up there, 14 of the 19 pitchers are Hall of Famers. 14 of the 19. So if you get to 3,000 strikeouts, you got a real good chance of making the Hall of Fame. The only 5 that are not in the Hall of Fame, most of them aren't able to be voted on yet. CC Sabathia, Max Scherzer, and Verlander haven't been able to be voted on yet because they're still playing. Or CC hasn't been 5 years out of the league yet. The 2 other pitchers that aren't in the Hall of Fame are Roger Clemens. We all know about that. And Kurt Schilling is the other one that is not in the Hall of Fame. So if you get to 3,000 strikeouts and you're not known for your controversial views or you haven't done steroids, you got a great shot at the Hall of Fame. So Zach Greinke, come on, man, you can do it.
Well, I've always been a fan of Greinke's because he came up as a Royal, and that's my AL
You
team.
lived out there.
So love Zach Greinke. But what I really like about him is don't know if people remember this. His first stint with the big league club, he was terrible. And then he took time off and he had some mental health issues. He has social anxiety and he dealt with that. And then he went back with the tools to deal with that better and became Zach Greinke. And, this is a little rabbit hole I'm going to run down, but Major League Baseball has really the last few years, especially this year, they've been doing commercials promoting mental health. And some of the players in the commercial are people who've talked about how they've come out. I've struggled with this. I've struggled with depression. I've struggled with bipolar and stuff like that. And I've went on to have a successful career. And I'm glad that Major League Baseball is bringing that out in the open because it used to be a day, where it was, man up and be a man, blah, blah, blah. And I remember Khalil Green when he was with the Cardinals, he had severe mental issues to the point where he was cutting himself. And he finally just had to retire from Major League Baseball. And it was when it came out, I remember I was listening to one of the sports shows in St. Louis. Came out that he was having this terrible year with the Cardinals and that his mental state was to a point where he was cutting himself. It was almost like, well, he needs, we don't need that kind of person on the team. It was treated as if, you institutionalize people like that. And Major League Baseball's come a long way in the past 15 years in talking about mental health issues and letting players deal with them when they do arise. So, and Zach Greinke was certainly one of the pioneers in bringing that out and making it something where it's not something to be ashamed of. It's something that you can deal with and still be a success. So
all these ball players are young fellas and a lot of stress. A lot of failure. And we have a lot of players that come risk their lives to get out of the country they're from to come here to play. And you're away from your families. And I think each team now has a psychiatrist or someone to talk to you and everything. Before you just had your coach, and most of them,
your coach and beer. That was it.
That's right.
More beer.
So things have changed for the better. That's great. Thank you, Vince. That's a good story.
I want to highlight 3 outfielders, and the first one I'm very happy with because he's been maligned since he was traded to the Padres. Juan Soto, um, he in May had a 1.13 OPS, a 481 on base percentage for the whole month, almost 500 for the whole month. Juan Soto has become Juan Soto again. And because the Padres are not that good, and they were expected to be great, and they play on the West Coast, so you don't see their games as much. It's kind of flown under the radar that Juan Soto is having a heck of a year. He had a very subpar April, but in May he's put it into overdrive, and I'm really happy for that because he is one of the guys that I like to watch hit because he will take his walks. He knows the strike zone. He's I liken Juan Soto to um, like Tony Gwynn with power. He's a very heady hitter, and he understands what a pitcher's trying to do to him, and he hits accordingly. And I don't know what was wrong with him when he got to San Diego last year and the first month this year, but Juan Soto's back, and that's really cool to see.
That is good to see. I've heard comparisons to Ted Williams, like he could be a Ted Williams because he's still a young guy too. But yeah, Vince, you asked the question last week about Otani and Soto. It scares me to death to trade all that talent for one player because they could get hurt. And Otani's already had that Tommy John surgery, and Soto, the way he plays, he's a very aggressive player. I'm always afraid these great superstars get hurt, and you just gave up like your 5 best players for them. So I'm very cautious on trades. Of course, would I like Otani? Yes. Would I like Soto? Of course. But if they got hurt, oh man, that would be devastating. So anyway, that's kind of how I am about those trades. We get them, hey, yeah, you always take a gamble. That's baseball for you. Well, my sixth story is a guy under the radar, and this whole team is turned around, and he's one of the big pieces. Marcus Semien of the Texas Rangers. The Texas Rangers are in first place, 2.5 games ahead of the world champion Houston Astros. That's amazing. These two teams, both from Texas, are going to battle it out. Bruce Bochy is the coach now of the Rangers. I'm sure they had a big part of it. They went out and spent money. Another big part of it. They got Mike Maddox back, who I think did an incredible job in St. Louis. Well, he's out there now, and that's one of the better pitching staffs in baseball. They did spend money, and if you get DeGrom on your team, all of a sudden your pitching is going to get a lot better. But the Texas Rangers, but Semien has the longest hitting streak in baseball right now, 16 games. He's tied with another player, which you mentioned, Freddie Freeman. So they're the two guys with 16 games hitting streaks right now. In that hitting streak, Semien has had 26 hits, a 313 batting average, 3 home runs, 16 RBIs. He's walked 4 times and 12 strikeouts. And on the year, he's hitting 296. Anyway, they're first place, 35 and 20, and he is a big part of it. I thought the Rangers were kind of crazy because that year they got Corey Seager. They also got Semien, who's also a shortstop, but now he's playing second, short, and third. So very, very, they can move him around. He's doing a great job. And I just thought that was a player that we should take a look at. So right there.
There are 2 teams that I really want to see win the World Series. I want to see the Guardians win the World Series, and I know that they've won one, but it's been what, 1948?
Yeah, I think you're right. I saw it up on their stadium. Yeah.
Yeah. And the other team is the Rangers. Now that, the Astros have that monkey off their back, I would like to see the Rangers. They put 2 straight teams in the World Series, lost both of them, very competitive World Series.
Yeah.
And I would just like to see them get over the hump and win a World Series. And it's good for baseball in the South when you have the Astros and the Rangers fighting it out. That can be a heck of a rivalry. So
it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be good.
Tremendous. My next player that I want to highlight is a former Cub. We traded him to Kansas City, where he eventually led the league with 45 home runs, and then he was traded to the Braves, won a World Series, did very well in the World Series. He's always been a gamer when it's come to the playoffs, and he is now with the Marlins. Jorge Soler hit 12 home runs in the month of May. And that
Whoa.
Marlins team is over 500. They're playing really well, and they don't have a lot of thump. They run the bases really well, but Jorge Soler is the muscle of that team, and he carries them when it comes to the power, and his shoulders are big enough to handle that. So I've always liked Soler. I know why we got rid of him. I wish we wouldn't have. He won a World Series with us. He was really good in the playoffs for us, and then he had that great World Series with the Braves. So kudos to Jorge Soler, who's got a big smile and a big bat.
It's fun to watch the Marlins play. They're enthusiastic. They're a young, fun team to watch. And a special send out to Skip Schumacher, who's doing a good job with that team. So
Yeah,
we love
yeah.
Skip.
That's one team that really did need a managerial change. Nothing against Don Mattingly, but he's very old school. He's very stoic. He's very businesslike, and Skip has a little bit of fire. I don't need to sound bad because I'm not a big man, but he's kind of got that little guy syndrome where he's got the chip on his shoulder. So I like that.
Earl Weaver.
A little bit of Billy Martin and Earl Weaver, yeah.
Oh yeah, that'll light him up. Oh yeah, look at
Not enough to get him arrested, but
oh,
enough to
yeah.
on the baseball.
Yeah. Who Billy beat up? Did he beat up a cotton candy salesman or a
Marshmallow salesman.
marshmallow salesman? That's right.
Yes.
Billy, wild man himself. Well, speaking of managers, Skip Schumacher, Billy Martin, Earl Weaver, I just want to point out this is my last thing for the American League. I think this is a golden age for managers. Even though there's been a lot of changes in baseball, we're seeing a lot of managers stay somewhere for a long time. I mean, there's some teams are constant turnover, but we got some really good managers in baseball right now, and we should take advantage of this, get to see these guys. And one is Dusty Baker. Everybody loves Dusty. He's the 10th winningest coach in manager in Major League history with 2000 coming into this season 2022 wins, and he's 10 on the all-time win list. That's fantastic. And Dusty's played with a lot of teams, had a storied career, been with a lot of great teammates, managed all over baseball, and has done a real he gets criticized. When he was younger, he got criticized for using up the pitching staff, but you got to give the guy credit. He's top notch. Players love him. They love playing for him. So we got Dusty Baker. Number 12 on the all-time list is Bruce Bochy with 2003 wins. And both Baker and Bochy has world championships. Terry Francona, which we love. He's over there in Cleveland. He's 17th all-time with 1,806 wins. And 23rd, and this is one I love this guy. He always builds a good team, and they usually fire him right before they win a championship. Is Buck Showalter? He has from team to team. It seems like he builds them up to like the right to the edge, and then I don't know if he just don't get along with the bean counters or something. But he's 23rd all time with 1,589, and that's 4 great managers right there. All of them deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. And the top 10 managers of all time, I just kind of want to do this because I love statistics. Connie Mack, he's like the Nolan Ryan of strikeouts with wins. Of course, he owned the team too, with 3,731 wins. Tony La Russa's second. John McGraw is third. Bobby Cox, I did not know he was the 4th winningest manager of all time. Joe Torre, Sparky Anderson, Bucky Harris, Joe McCarthy, Yankee managers, of course. Walt Alston of the Dodgers, and then finally Dusty Baker. So that's the top 10, and we've got some great managers in our game today. And if you get a chance, watch them and learn from them because those guys are masters.
You want to know how big of a baseball nerd I am?
How's that?
I'm in sociology class in high school, and our teacher, he said, I'm going to write a name on the board, and if anybody can tell me who this person is, you get 10 bonus points. And he wrote Cornelius McGillicuddy.
And
He
you
said,
got it.
I said, Connie Mack. He said,
Boom.
how did you know that? I said, I don't know.
Very good. Look at
In
you.
all the years of Mr. Franklin teaching, nobody had ever gotten that right. And he was probably in his 50s by then. And as soon as he put it out there, hey, that's Connie Mack. So
Very good. If you asked me what his real name was, I could have come up with that. But if you said that name, I said, "Oh yeah, Connie," I would have got it, but I couldn't come up with it.
I probably read it. I read all the time growing up, and all I read was baseball books. Nothing else interested me. So I'm reading baseball books. So Uh, well, I saved the best for last.
All
I am
right.
so excited for the month of May for this guy, the best player in the sport. God said, I'm going to put together a baseball player, the perfect baseball player, and I'm going to give him to you. And his name is Christopher Morel. Okay, I'm using a little hyperbole here, but he had an unreal month of May. Too bad the Cubs were bad. He was the only bright spot for a long time with the offense. He has cooled off, but for the month, he finished with an OPS of 1.1. He hit 9 home runs, and he played in only half the month. So Christopher Morel, it was a fun ride. I think it's about over with now. He's still good if he plays enough. He's still going to get his 20, 25 home runs. He's a very good player. But that streak where he was unconscious for about 2 weeks was just unreal. It was stupid. So, like I said, I think of last week, it was a video game. That's what I was watching. So, well, JJ, what are you opening?
Well, I don't know if you remember this, Vince. This is Topps 2023s. But you remember when they used to have them in these boxes like that, and you just pulled
Yeah,
them off the thing? Yeah, I found that today. So I said, hey, that's perfect. I'll show that. All the old guys will remember that probably from the 90s. You just went to the toy store or whatever, and they'd have a pack. There's 17
Toys
Topps.
R Us.
Yeah, that's right. Toys R Us. You go in there and they have the baseball cards and stuff. So let me open that bad boy up. There's 17 cards in here. And I'm a big fan of the 2023. It's a very nice looking card. Topps did a good job this year. They always, well, there's some years I like better than others. But Vince, the guys I have, we just talk. A lot of these guys we talk about on the podcast, and then they pop up in our baseball cards. But a young player right now, I think the MVP of the National League. But Ronald Acuna Jr. has had an incredible year this year. Him and
Yeah,
Freddie Freeman right now could be 1 and 2 in that race. Uh, this was the kid when you guys got Darby Swanson. This was the kid they thought was going to come up and take his spot. Well, not so quick. He's been okay, but Vaughn Grissom, that was the kid they thought was going to be the next step. He's done okay, but he ain't no Darby Swanson yet. What is going on? You know what, Vince? This is the Atlanta Braves 2023 team. I thought, man, we got 2 Braves. This is every Brave card. I did not know that.
wow.
Well, all right. Ozzy Alvis, the second base, diving in there. That's a nice looking card right there.
Cool.
Diving
I
back
like
in there.
that.
Yeah. Marcelo Zuna right there. He used to have green arm sleeves with us, but he's got white ones there with the Braves. So how about that? Well, what the heck? Or second baseman Orlando Arcia, right there, sliding in, right there.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I'll be darned. I'll know better to look at it next day. Matt Olson, a big pickup for Atlanta. That guy is, and he played high school ball with Arenado. They went to the same high school. They're both professional third basemen. Max Fried, what a talent
Great
right there.
yeah.
Yeah, he's been hurt a lot though. The quad god, Spencer Strider, leading the league in strikeouts. I think he's one of the fastest guys to like 100 strikeouts already. He's got I like the little rookie of the year, all rookie team. He's got the little trophy right there. Another really good pitcher, Ian Anderson, right there. The Braves are always messing around with their uniforms. I kind of like the old ones better. Oh, rookie of the year, Michael Harris Jr. And again, he's got the little rookie little trophy right there in the corner.
Yeah.
Outstanding. A great player. Big game Charlie Morton. There he is, one of the older players on the Atlanta Braves team. let's see here. Oh, Travis. I can't think of how to say his name though. The catcher, Anod. I can't say his name.
Yeah.
He was a New York Met, the big prospect for them when he came up. Oh man, this is updated because they've got the Oakland A catcher Sean Murphy in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, outstanding. He's having a great year for them, and they made them even better this year. Let's see. Oh, I think this is the kid I said would win one of the big awards at the end of the year, Austin Riley, although I think he might be hurt right now, but he is a very good player, Austin Riley. And the final one I have is another really good pitcher, Cal Wright. And there he is. There he is. That's good. So I thought we had a lot of Atlanta Braves in there. And by the third card, I noticed every single one of those cards were Atlanta Braves. How about that?
Well, I'm going back to my 2023 package that I got. It had
Yes, sir.
36 cards in it. And I said, I'm just going to pull them out in thirds. Yeah, I didn't count them. I just kind of grab a stack. So we're all in 2023. We are the modern podcast. So if you want to watch a podcast about, old history of baseball, which we know nothing about, don't watch this because we are a modern podcast. Okay.
We're happening.
Okay.
Is that what the kids say?
I don't know what the kids say.
I don't either.
First card, Brandon Hughes for the Cubs.
Oh,
Left-hander.
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, we just saw this card, Ronald Acuna Jr. So
There he is.
I stole your card. Wow. And here's a guy, if he could ever find the strike zone consistently, would win a few more Cy Young awards. Blake Snell.
Yes.
Yeah.
I still remember that game he got taken out in the playoffs early. They took him out early. That's the one thing I remember about him more than anything.
Yeah, he won the won 20 games and won a Cy Young award with the Rays. Linus Sosa for the White Sox.
Yes.
I don't have any Hall of Famers in this pack, but I have future Hall of Famer Miguel Cabrera.
No doubter. Triple Crown winner.
And this guy, Kevin Kiermaier, he no longer plays. Who do you go to? Is it the Blue Jays? I think it's the Blue Jays.
Maybe. He makes some of the most spectacular plays.
And hitter, catcher for the A's, Shea Langoliers. If nothing else, he has a pretty cool name. Also the name of a Stephen King book.
That's what I was thinking.
All-star for the surging Orioles, Cedric Mullins.
30-30 man.
Alex Wood, now pitching for the Giants.
I think he beat us when we played him.
And finally, third baseman for the Oakland Athletics, Jonah Bride.
I'll take your word for it.
So, all right. Well, we will not be doing an episode next week. It's a great week to go back and listen to old podcasts or watch old YouTube shows of us, or you can just take a break from us like our wives like to do. So anyway, next week, me and Max we're leaving on Monday morning. We're going to be in Pittsburgh that night to see the Pittsburgh play the Athletics because we love minor league baseball. Then on Tuesday, we'll drive into Cooperstown. Wednesday, we're going to spend the day at the Hall of Fame. Thursday, we're going to drive from Cooperstown to Cleveland to watch the Guardians play the Red Sox, and then we'll come home Friday. So it's kind of a 2023 for me and Max, and looking forward to it. And so
great.
I'll have some clips when we come back, so you can look and see how baseball nerds really like to spend their times.
That's going to be great. You guys have a safe trip out there, man. I'm so happy for you. We'll be looking for you. You wear anything distinct at the game so we can spot you?
Oh, I'll have my shirt off.
Oh, all right. Well, hey,
it's 1974. I'm gonna have my shirt off.
It's rating sweeps right there.
There you go. I remember watching White Sox games in the 70s, and Bill Beckett, who owned the team, would be out there in the bleachers without his shirt on. You never see that anymore.
Oh no.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, JJ, you have a good one. I'll keep in touch and we will see everybody in 2 weeks.
Take care.